And we are live. It is Monday, December 9th, and today is release day for Kubernetes 117. Hi, I am Guinevere Sanger, aka Chill Capybara. The theme of the release is the chillest release. We will have a logo, hopefully by end of the week. And I am super excited about today. Who else is excited? Whoa, okay, all right. I have never done release day as a release lead before. So we already asked this, but I think we just have to check in with docs, release notes. There isn't really an agenda for today in terms of the other meetings. I believe we are going to, you know what, Stephen, why don't you tell the team what you did over the weekend with the mock release and when we are planning to cut 117.0.
Hello, friends. Yeah, so over the weekend, I was talking to Tim and on Friday, and we were basically talking about, like, is there any danger in pre-staging a release? And the answer is not really, if we know nothing is going to change, right? And we were at the point where cherry pick deadline had hit. We still merged some things in post cherry pick deadline, but they were urgent things. So at that point, we had stopped. We stopped adding new content to the release. So it was a good point to just do a stage and make sure everything was clean. So if you want to check out that issue, which I just popped in the chat, that is the release cut issue. The mock stage has been completed, the mock release, as well as the actual stage. So we are ready to rock in terms of release manager mechanics. I just need to click the button that actually does the release. The release should take about a little less than 30 minutes, at which point it's over to the build admins, which I'm going to raise on Slack shortly around building the debs and RPMs, right? So I guess it is on you, team, to tell us when you want us to go.
All right. Thank you, Stephen. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and check in with each team lead and see if there are any outstanding anythings in this milestone. And what we should do about them. Let's start with you, Bob.
Enhancements continue to be green. We should be good to go.
Awesome. Where are my windows? I am like way too excited, y'all. Way too excited. Let's go on. We had sort of a last minute CI signal blip over the weekend, but I believe we talked about it. Elena, do you want to give the context on that?
Oh yeah, we're green. There was one issue that was keeping me a little bit worried. There's one flake in the SIG network conformance tests that started to be that appeared several days ago, and it started to be a little bit bad. But I didn't really hunt down anyone from SIG release who can comment on that. I took a look. It sounds to me more like a test infra issue than a real issue. So I would say it's good, but yeah.
Yeah, I have been looking at the tests over the weekend as well. A bug actually surfaced. We are going to include that in the known issues. So Chris can talk about that in.
Oh, cool.
It's been an issue. This is actually a SIG off one. It's been actually a hidden issue since September. So basically, it's not really release blocking, but we should look into that and make it a priority for 118.
Do you know if it was apparent in any of the jobs, or was that one of the flakes that we missed? Or
yesterday, the integration run for SIG off flaked went red at 12:30, but it's been green since.
Is it the integration, or was it the conformance test for
conformance? I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It's a conformance 117. Looked like it was a storage issue, maybe, that flaked. Um,
Let me pull it up.
yeah, I'm just scrolling, getting to the scroll back.
Oh shoot, that was my.
Yeah, it's just, a storage issue, it seems to be. Apps slash, wow, okay, so storage slash apps slash something else.
This one here.
But yeah, so node and testing. Okay, wow. So it does appear to be something that has existed for some time and just randomly crops up when it feels like. So the question is, so one, we want a known issue. We want to make sure that this bug is critical, priority critical urgent, which I'm adding to the issue right now. And
Oh, it's this issue. Yeah, now I know which one it is. Yeah, that seems to be in the loops for quite some time. The guy just said that they don't have anyone to work on that. That's interesting that it actually was a real issue.
yeah.
That's definitely something for the retro, thanks.
Yeah, it's been passing for months, but it finally caught up to reality. So it needs to be a critical urgent one for 118.
It's also something that we may consider, depending on the disposition after a while, we may consider removing that as part of conformance. So that's what Jordan was mentioning if you scroll higher up in the channel. I also noticed a conformance blip. So by the way, the conformance tests are triggered to alert on a single failure as opposed to the standard 3 failures. So when they blip and they hit the release team mailing list, that is something that we need to check out. But again, that's a flake that randomly pops up that is suggests an actual issue that only hits in weird conditions. There was another flake on master blocking for the conformance test, but not a big deal. Not a deal for this meeting. Yeah, it passed immediately afterwards at 9:48 or 6:48 your time.
That one. Awesome. So again, we have captured this in the release notes. We are making it a priority for 118, and we may consider removing that test as conformance. So I don't think this is release blocking, although we have to keep an eye on it overall. All right, let's check in with bugs. Any outstanding bugs in the 117 milestone?
Hello. So it appears we do not have any outstanding bugs. The numbers we have on the document currently are not updated. So I'll go ahead and update them. I think that's about it.
Awesome. Yep. Sounds good. Thank you. Docs. We have a new docs PR.
Yes, finally. So there are some pre-release PRs which I need to open, which will not take more than half an hour. So I'll be working on that. And I have another question saying, should I wait until the blog PR gets merged to start the docs release work, or should I do it first? I mean, should I start with the release work first and then get the blog PR merged?
That's actually a really good question. Let's see. Let me check out. We do have a timeline for this. And let me drop that link in the chat. So basically, we are going to, around 4 p.m. Pacific, communications are going to stage the blog post. Then Stephen is going to do building and publishing the packages. We're waiting for the build to be complete. Then the docs get published to the website after the build is complete. Then branch manager does release notify, which I'm not entirely sure.
It's me sending the email to the Kubernetes dev and announce lists that we're live with 1.17.0.
Very cool. Can you CC me on that?
You should be part
I mean,
of.
I'm on the list, but
You're on the list.
but I mean, CC me on the work. So.
Oh yeah. It'll all be happening in the release channel.
Awesome. And then this should ideally take an hour, and then I'm going to announce the release to the mailing list, the SIG leads list, and discuss and all the things.
Okay, so by 4 p.m. Pacific, the docs release work should be done, ideally.
Yes, so you will wait for the build to be complete. So you'll wait for the release engineering to say, hey, we're all done, and then you're going to hit go on the docs or have one of your team do it.
Okay, cool.
Because I think it's like a stupid time for you.
Yeah, so the question there is, we have been saying 4 p.m. and I think this is listed somewhere in an issue somewhere. But we've been saying 4 p.m. for some time, and I think that we've only been saying 4 p.m. because it has been 4 p.m. previously. Is there a hard requirement for it's a question for the class, like, is it a hard requirement for us to go at 4 p.m. Pacific? I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either.
I don't think so either.
The only thing that I want to talk about is SIG Windows and the release notes, because Chris, do you have anything on that?
Hey, sorry, Chris isn't on. I'm covering for Chris today. So right now it's still on hold for the SIG Windows team. So they were sent notification. So that's the only reason that link, and I put the link to the actual PR in the notes there. So that's the only thing we're waiting on that hold, and then we'll push to the website the updates and the release the notes.
Okay. Very cool. So we have the draft release notes to SIG release.
Yep.
And I just approved it, and I have it on hold because we're still waiting for SIG Windows.
SIG Windows, that's right.
Okay.
Still waiting. Yep.
Yeah, we're just waiting for them to acknowledge if they're good to go or not. They started doing it on Thursday and asked for a couple end of days, and last night was end of day today, so we're hoping to speed them up. Everything is in the right spot. We just need to get their okay or.
Yeah. We should wait for that, but we don't need to wait for 4 p.m.
Sounds good. So we should have that done before then, or at least some kind of indication of where they're at.
So tell you what, why don't y'all give me a heads up when release notes are done, if there's anything pending on the doc side to do. Before we go, I'm sending the note to build admins right now to get a time for them based on when we say the release notes are done and when the build admins are actually available to push their buttons. We can maybe reconvene and decide that we're going to go sooner if we want to do that. I'm not pushing for sooner. I'm just saying, like, if we don't.
Yeah, it would be really fun for Damini to be able to actually be awake and hit the merge button. So that'd be cool.
Yes.
Nonetheless, I do want you to get sleep, especially on a weekday night. So who should we talk to in case things do get later from your team?
Sorry?
Who from your shadows should we talk to in case things do get late?
I think Paul. I'll talk to Paul once because he's in PST time zone, EST actually. So
that'll still be good enough, I think. Awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Well, if you could put him on notice, just because I don't want you to get up in the middle of the night.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
So the sorry, I'm also unfamiliar with the process, but the docs process is like, do we have PRs already staged for that?
Yes,
Are they approved?
Dominique?
I'll get them approved now.
Okay, so yeah, so if they're
By
if
Jim.
we if we have them approved and held, then you
It's
don't have
literally
to,
an unhold.
yeah, exactly. Then you don't have to be awake. So
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I personally love pushing buttons and making stuff happen myself.
same.
Also seen as reasons Glenn got into computering. Yeah, awesome. Let's get back to, so actually we kind of already did the release notes update. Docs are good to go unless you tell me otherwise, Dominique.
Yes, it is good to go.
Perfect. And then release notes, we're waiting on SIG Windows.
As soon as I hear back from them, I'll send up the smoke signals.
Very cool. So everyone watch the SIG release channel today. I think that is the channel that we all belong to, and that is where we will be least likely to miscommunicate. Cool. Comms, how's the blog post?
The blog post is good. I think everyone has a link to review that and let me know if they're happy with it. We got a lot of content from SIG Storage just at the end of the week. So I've actually split that out. So we have 2 blog posts going live today to talk about some of the new functionality there, and a link to those articles from the release, which the CNCF have asked that we hold until 4 p.m. Eastern, not Pacific, tomorrow, to tie in with their media conversations. But everything from the comm side is good.
Interesting. Okay, maybe that was the reason that we had the time.
4 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. So historically, so if you go back a ways, the actual mechanism of releasing was relatively fraught. So we would probably spend the release day like panics fixing surprises and just flailing towards getting done by the end of day just because it was the end of day.
I
But
was
also,
going,
yeah.
yes.
In parallel to that, the comms, there's all sorts of staged articles ready to get done, including from third parties beyond our control. So those people have drafts written up of their things, random bloggers and media people, and they're embargoed. So we're waiting, or those third parties are waiting for the release notification from us so that they can press the button on their content management system to publish their stuff. And it makes it easier if you can forecast to them like it should be around this particular time. And then you sort of get a splash of stuff and nobody gets a particular jump on things, and the first on Twitter to announce type of stuff that is sort of neutral and everybody can publish their stuff together in the same splash.
So now the question becomes, if we have been requested to hold publication until tomorrow, then do we have to? Huh?
Who requested this?
Didn't David just say that?
So it's only the release blog. Nothing else should be held up.
Okay, but all right. Are they embargoed on our release, or are they embargoed on our release of the release blog? Because if so, then we need to send notification.
It's just the release blog.
Sorry. Okay. So what I'm trying to get at is like, is their content embargoed by the release of our content or by the release of Kubernetes 117.0?
By our content. They will follow the lead of our blog article.
Okay, which means that we need to send notification to them that they're embargoed until tomorrow.
The CNCF handled that on Friday, as far as I'm aware, because I had conversations with Kim on Friday and Eli, and we just agreed that we would go at 4 p.m. Eastern on the 10th, and that's what they were passing on to all of the blogs and media.
Okay, can we get a final confirmation on that?
Yes, I will ask Eli to loop and release leads on that email.
Okay, thank you.
Just a question on that, just to make sure that we don't step ahead of everyone. We talked to Dave earlier today, said it was okay, but I just kind of worried about the release themes that we have on the top of the release notes, just to make sure they're not covered under that embargo. I don't want to get anyone upset.
I will say traditionally in the past, we've held off publishing release notes because of those themes until the blog post is also published.
Okay, interesting.
What we could do to kind of split the difference is we could put the release notes out without the theme and then update it in conjunction with the blog. If that,
I could live with that. I mean, although I don't feel like we need to, but they're
Not that, okay, so apparently last time we pushed it out right before the release. I think release notes are slightly different than a blog post because they're definitely, I mean, I feel like they're just part of the package. Really, just like, this is a feeling, but the notes to me are part of the code.
agreed. Yeah.
So I think we can stick to the notes
Great.
and bring them out at the same time, you know, as soon as the build is done, we hit go on the release notes. Regarding the blog post, 4 Eastern tomorrow is almost an entire day after we cut the release. I understand that people were being careful and that this is a little bit of an unusual situation and that we're actually releasing on release day.
I think that's the other challenge was just, you know, obviously we never got time with the CNCF till rather late because of KubeCon and holidays and Thanksgiving. And I think the pushing it to the 10th, especially at 4 p.m., was just to make sure that everything was in order.
Right.
A chunk of the CNCF staff are traveling right now too for the events in Seoul and in Australia.
Sure. I'm wondering if we can start publishing things more on Tuesday in the AM. This all sounds like we should keep to 4 p.m. as pushing the buttons, honestly. Just so people don't get confused, being like, hey, I thought there was gonna go, where is everything? Where's all my information? So let's stick to 4 p.m. But we should revisit that in the release retrospective. I hope that sounds good to everybody. Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Let's not deviate there. If we can, so what is the comms blog post that we write, when should that go out?
That's going out at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.
Okay.
And there's a draft in our channel, which you can go and review.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's fine. That sounds like, yeah.
Just to add just a comment here on the overall release process for the documentation side of the things. The past couple releases besides this one, and I'm not too aware of the docs process for the last release, but going back a few releases, the blog post is kind of like the first release for docs and kind of the kickoff of the release per se from a visual perspective. So right now, just for my understanding is that we're talking about the release happens, but there's really no publicity or you know, public articles about the release until tomorrow at 4 p.m.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing, or is that a thing? I'm not.
It doesn't matter one way or the other. But more so from the sense of that was kind of our kickoff for docs is like you're gonna branch master off to the kind of older. This is now 1.16 going, you know, sunsetting into the past. We're releasing the blog as like the official kickoff of the release. We're merging in the dev branch and all the different features and changes. Doesn't matter one way or the other. I'm just trying to get some general understanding moving forward.
So
This is really weird. I'm confused why the blog is happening so much later.
yeah, I feel like we've never done this, but I could be wrong.
I'm a little bit like, I would like for it to go out tomorrow AM. Like
Okay,
9
then I can speak to Eli and I'll make sure I look in the release leads email. We can just drop to it there, make sure we get it sorted and see if we can push it forward and see what happens.
I really think that would be preferable.
Yeah, ideally it's happening the same day. This does feel disjointed.
Ideally, I'd want it to go out today.
Exactly, yeah.
And then have everyone else come out tomorrow AM. In fact, that may or may not have been what I told the podcast interviewers for the Kubernetes podcast. I was like, yeah, Tuesday morning should be fine if the release goes out. I mean, I'll obviously get in touch with them because clearly I told them the wrong thing. But I would really prefer the blog to go out at the same time as the docs. To like, as in this afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel kind of.
I don't know what's involved here. So if that's not possible, then it's not possible and we'll work around it. But I'd love for it to be possible.
I feel like it's a people thing right now. Is that correct, David, with the traveling and all that stuff?
I believe so, and just obviously, I never actually spoke to Eli for the first time until Friday, just because of the holidays and KubeCon.
Sure.
And you're working.
I think which. Sorry, on you go.
Yeah, you're working with Eli and Kim.
I am, yeah.
Okay.
So I can just tell them we're slightly uncomfortable delaying the release blog by so long, and that we want to push it out. And if that may mean that they have to reach out to some of our press partners, maybe that's going to be a challenge with the travel or commitments or whatever's happening today.
Yeah, so I
we
know.
won't know until we ask the question.
Yeah, so I know Kim is in New York right now, so she is closer in time zone to you right now, just by a hair. So yeah, if you want to reach out to them just to get a gut check, like if this is possible, not that it has to happen, just to see if it is possible.
Okay, leave that with me.
Cool.
Another quick question, David. Whenever you're having these conversations with all the people that that need to be involved, could you add some information about the whole process in the release retrospective, just to get an idea of why things have to be done the way they have to be, please?
Yes, we should revisit the timeline for this in the retrospective.
Okay.
Yeah, we should that would be awesome. Yeah, anyway, if we can just make it happen more in order, that would make me feel a lot better.
Yeah,
I really think this is a new challenge because we have historically delayed releases.
We've been pretty good. I think there have only been 2 delays in the recent 6 releases or so. So I challenge all of you to, 1, update your handbooks. I'm going to be opening issues for all of that stuff prior to the retrospective. And 2, really, again, challenge the content of your handbooks, right? Don't assume that just because we wrote something down, don't stand on the tradition of what we did before, right? We're continually improving this process every release cycle, and it's really important that the new eyes that are coming to the process are challenging the content so we can get better, right? Because this does feel very disjointed, so.
I thought you were going to challenge us to delay the next release. So that's
I challenge you to release early.
Cool. All right. So, plan of attack. We're going to talk to the CNCF people and see if we can publish the blog once we are ready with the build, which would be later today. David, I know that's super late that's also like the middle of the night for you. So make sure that we have somebody to delegate just saying go.
Can we do, for any of those communications, can you include all of the release team leads? The release team lead, and so Gwen and her shadows, and then all of the SIG release chairs as well, just so we make sure we have some continuity. Just in case you have to drop, we can continue the conversation with them.
Yep, of course.
Thank you.
Great. Then, so we are still waiting on SIG Windows, which that'll be perfectly fine because we don't need to rush them at this point because they are aware of the timeline. We're going to start the build process at around 4 Pacific. And
well, maybe. If we find we can go faster, then we can go faster.
Sure.
Because right now, so the 4 p.m. was kind of around the blog release, right? So now that the blog release is...
Here's where I'm thinking though, that if we build at like 12 noon and the blog post hits the shelves, then everyone who is embargoed on that is going to be like, holy crap, we thought we had until tomorrow. If we hit it at between 4 and 5 Pacific, everyone else will already have gone home unless you're in Hawaii. And then it won't feel like, oh, wait, what is happening, right? I don't think we want to rush all the other press stuff.
We're already kind of like messing them up, right? Because they usually go the day of the release after we go. Like I know because I proof the VMware one and I've proofed the Red Hat and CoreOS ones, right? So like we go day of, right? So the second we get the okay from the release team, we go.
That sounds like a contradiction of what I just heard.
What do you mean?
What I understand the issue is that it feels weird to have the docs and release notes go up with the release cut, but wait on the blog post for nearly a full day.
Right, that is still true. That is still accurate, right? Because what we have done is release all of that stuff on the same day. I believe the reason that 4 p.m. exists is that's the release of the embargo time. Or that's close to the release of the embargo time on the same day. Now that we're not going on the same day for the blog post, that changes everyone's timeline. So like our timeline leading up to the point where we release the blog doesn't matter, right? Like today doesn't matter almost.
So I'm still confused.
Okay.
If it's okay to release the blog post tomorrow, and if that's what we've always done, then I don't understand what the issue is.
No, we have not always released the blog. We've released, so the blog has gone first, right? The blog is the thing that kicks off the docs process, essentially, right? The blog goes first, and everything else in their process goes afterwards, right? But that happens on release day.
Right. So I don't understand what this like 9 a.m. like 12 p.m. what noon Eastern tomorrow for the blog post is. Where did that come from?
I don't know. I have no clue. Right? This is all Tom stuff that I haven't been privy to, right? But this is definitely not the norm, right? And it throws off our coordination right now. But as a result, that also means that when we push buttons today does not matter if the go time for everyone else is not going to be until after the blog post gets published.
So Jeff, do you have an update?
No, I was making a bad joke regarding Eeyore.
Oh, all right.
But really, so I think I agree partly with Stephen's assessment from the branch management side, but I think the final call on this should be coming from comms, because they understand who all they've interacted with on third-party press and what they've agreed to for embargoes.
Agreed.
It almost seems to make sense to just release when the
tomorrow?
comms go out. Yeah.
Do it tomorrow. That's what I was thinking. I didn't want to say it out loud, but, but I
Like,
was
so
thinking.
what's the background? Can we get an assessment from comms on the background of the splitting? Was it just the blogs, or what is the broad press been told for sure is their embargo time? Is it today or tomorrow?
So I don't have a specific answer to that. When I spoke to Eli on Friday, what was said was, can we publish our blog at 4 p.m. Eastern on the 10th and the press will follow? And I naively said, sure, that shouldn't be a problem. And now we're having this conversation. So I'm going to have to reach out to Eli, see if I can get some time with him just now and see, can we just bring that embargo to today at 4 p.m. Eastern? I think that's where we kind of are right now. And I'll just make sure I include everybody on that email.
Yeah. Yeah.
I only spoke to him on Friday. So I'm
I-
assuming, no, here you go.
Yeah, so I would not set a time, or I would suggest the time, but not set the time to give us flex in case things go weird in our button pushing.
Right.
Yes, like so 4 p.m. is when we say that we're going to push the buttons, right? But a good portion of those buttons have already been pushed, right?
Correct.
So coordinating with the build admins at Google and seeing when they are going to be available to push their buttons will determine when I push my final button, right? And then from that button push, all of the docs stuff goes, right? So it's not necessarily going to be at 4, but if you add a half an hour at 4, if we say that 4 is the time that we're going to go, we add a half an hour at 4 for the actual release cut, so the branch cut. I mean, rather the tag on GitHub, which is if people are looking at if people are watching our releases on GitHub, they're going to know that we've gone, right? And then at that point, the build admins need to go immediately afterwards to do the build of the debs and RPMs. That's going to take about, Tim, like 2 hours or so, and then from there, right? So like once I announce that the final button has been pushed, that's when docs can go. That's when the release notey stuff and the stuff that's on K website can go, right? Not including the blog until we find out what is going on with that time. Right, so don't suggest an explicit time, just ask if it can be pushed to today at the end of the day. At like end of day is a vague thing, and then we can tighten that up as we get feedback from them.
Oh yeah, Eli did suggest 4 p.m. on Friday just because he said that was what the time was previously for releases. So I think that it was just a guideline of roughly at this time our blog will go live, and he has already told our media partners and such to keep an eye on it around that time. So I don't think it's set in stone. I just think it's a marker. But I'll make sure that we can push that to today.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually curious where he got this information, because if he got it from somewhere, that's a problem. Because no one checked with me. Literally the only people that checked with me were the people that I did the interview with on Friday. And
which information, sorry?
The only people that checked with me on communications and when the blog post would go up were people that interviewed me for the podcast. Like no one else, like no one from the CNCF like said, hey, when should we do? It feels weird that no one checked in with the timeline. I'm just curious where they got the Tuesday idea. Because if I were in your place and they're like, yeah, we've always done it this way, then I'd be like, sure, okay, sounds great.
No, okay, so I think that's just been maybe I just got my words wrong there. So when I spoke to Eli on Friday, I said the release is on Monday, and they said, okay, generally the release goes out around 4 p.m., but can we release the blog on Tuesday at 4?
Okay.
Now, I'll loop Eli in an email. We can try and get some more context and work out what went wrong. Because obviously
it's totally understandable for him to say 4 p.m. the next day, because that has been the standard time if it was release day. But if it's after the release, then it could be any time on that day, right? So I think it's just confusion because it's been tradition but the tradition has only held for the release day, right? The second you
Because
move,
Tuesday has traditionally been a release day?
no. 4 p.m. has traditionally been the time, is
Yeah.
what we're saying, right?
Sure.
Because it's no longer the release day, then the time that it happens no longer matters.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's confusion on their part and our part, and it we'll get it sorted. Let's all just get it sorted.
Yeah. Let's get in touch with them, and let's not have everyone else. Yeah. So as soon, yeah. If you can, if anyone else has a special into with the CNCF, but David, I'm so sorry, but if you need to, if you could please try to reach Eli or Kim.
I'll ping Kim as well. So.
Okay, very cool. This is Kim.
McMahon.
Kim McMahon. Yeah, I can ping her also. Because yeah, we just want all those things to go at the same time, ideally. Cool. Let's all watch Release Channel for that. Other than that, let's still plan to run the build at 4 p.m.
Yeah, cool. Unless we find out we can do it earlier. That's
unless everyone's like, oh, we're just waiting in the sidelines. Everything is ready to go, so do whatever you want.
Yeah, because this is also this is an artifact of the release pretty much always favoring the Pacific time zone, right? So
I think it's also just like trying to like use that one last day to scramble to get all the ducks in the row. So
right, but I like what I'm saying is like we have, I think outside of comms we have the rest of our ducks in a row. So if we can go earlier, I don't see why we shouldn't.
Okay, I hope so. Okay, sounds good. Yay, everyone! Of all the things there is to hook on, it's come down to a people problem. It's great. I love it.
Always is. It always is.
All right. I will see you on the channels all day today. Please ping me, send me DMs. I don't know if my phone number is on the contact sheet, but you know.
Like everyone opt for over communication today, like massive over communication.
Yep. And we can always hop on a Zoom chat if we need to actually just talk face to face. So this is going to be great. But before we sign off, I want to thank each and every one of you for all your hard work this release. It's been a ride. I'm just so honored. I've had such a fantastic team. Everyone has always been ready to jump in. I love the way that the shadow process has just been super great for everyone's sanity and mental health. And it's been lovely hearing from every one of you and seeing every one of you take turns and take up work and contribute. And it's been really, really great. And I'm really excited for Jorge to lead 118 for the next release. So I'm really excited for the next cycle to be in such good hands. So thank you for stepping up. And again, thanks everyone. It's been super great. Yay, 117.
It was an awesome release. Thanks, guys. Have a good one, everyone.
Peace.
Ow.